Well, each one of you take a turn to pray for us.
Amen. Lord, we bless your holy name. Father, we set before you, Lord, our hearts, Lord, our minds, and our souls, Lord, before you, Lord, this morning. Lord, I ask that our ears would hear, Lord, and our minds and hearts apply, Lord, the wisdom taught, Lord, and shared today. Lord, I pray that truly we would put these things, Lord, into practice, Lord, that which is taught, Lord, um, imparted from the wisdom of our brother Emmanuel, Lord, even in these teachings from Confucius, Lord, I ask that we would truly contemplate, Lord, upon these things throughout the week, Father, Lord, and seek to put them into practice, Lord, and in so doing, recognizing, Lord, their value, Lord, and that's come from your Spirit. Lord, we thank you for, Lord, how privileged we are, Lord, to be with such wise people, Lord, as our brother Emmanuel, Lord, even my father, Lord, and having access to such teachings. Lord, I pray that we would never take such things for granted. Lord, that we would encourage ourselves, Lord, and one another, Lord, to truly engage with these things with a delighted heart, Lord, and an earnest heart. Lord, I pray that at the same time, Lord, it would be, Lord, effective in the way that we see each other, Lord, and ourselves, Lord, our walk in life, Lord, that it would truly take root, Lord, and take effect in the way that we speak or that we think. Lord, I do ask that you would bless myself, Lord, and my brother in this way, Lord, as we engage during this time, Lord, and even all those that listen, Lord, to the recording. Lord, I pray these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Hallelujah.
Okay. Lord, I thank you for this morning. Lord, I pray that our hearts and minds would be focused on your word. Lord, what Emmanuel has to teach today, Lord, that our hearts would take it in, Lord, and let it play out in our lives. Lord, I thank you for this opportunity to have these teachings for us, Lord, to understand more about you and more about life, Lord. Lord, I pray that we would not take it for granted and that you would live through these things, Lord, and learn from them. Lord, I pray that you would bless this time, Lord. I pray that you would even give dreams and visions, Lord. Lord, I pray that you would bless each one and participating in those meetings. Lord, I pray in your name. Amen.
Well, thank you, guys. I guess we're gonna move on with our teaching. I need Noah to help me to find the place where we stopped last time. I think it's 2:20, right? So.
Yes, right. Yes.
Okay. So. Okay. So actually, if you understand the we, how this book that is Analect was compiled, we will recognize first the content, the nature of the material, records of Confucius conversations or teaching time. Am I right? Teachings like the students will take notes, and all others major eminent teachers who are also disciples of Confucius. They are well respected. Like Peter's word will be recorded by us as well. Am I right? So Luke will recorded the disciple, actions after Jesus. Eminent figures like in the early church, like Peter, Paul, and others. They have people will compile the conversations. This one more about the conversation rather than historical biography in a sense. So And then you have a conversation, you will recognize the compilation had to follow certain kind of method to organize those materials. Either we know history how to do that. You have two ways. Either you can do it chronically, amen, hallelujah. So that's we actually certain book, historical book is a composed, right? So chronicle, they use timeline or sequence events in to as a guide to organize the records. The other one would be topical or concerning events. Now here in conversational record, it's compilation and edition evidently going to follow two ways. Either that whole that conversation taking place, which is chronicleize it, on what kind of topic they concentrate on. Okay, so interesting enough, you can look at the Bible, the ways, especially the Gospel, was composed in the first way. Am I according to how things happened in sequence? Am I? So it's timeline chronically being done. You can see that almost in all the Gospels concerning Jesus' life. Now, John the Gospel broke out a little bit, concerning certain events, actually several miracles, but the more concentrated in John is concentrated on the content of the conversation, content of the teaching, because teaching more, yes, according to certain events, some dramatic moments, especially when miracles or some drama accompanying his ministry happened. The hearts of his audience, especially disciples, be troubled. Those time he took time to really use that to teach them deeper truths, right? So, like the day of Passover, for example, the day leading to Passover, and his crucifixion, for example, which occupied major portions of the gospel. Now, the other way to, but this is topical, concentrating on a topic in a sense, can be also a method, especially when using to compile people's teachings. Okay, so that is the fundamental idea how people have compiled this Analects through the teacher, Confucius. And so in a sense, why I say this, because leading from the beginning to 218, more the setting would be and concern would be in a school, in a teaching setting, and how to be a good student, or tell you how to, or other setting would be how to deal with yourself in the family, right? So in the school, what it means to be good students, there are two aspects. First, how you learn to be a good student, and learn to be a wise man, in a sense of godly man. Then he also addressed in that regard what teachers should do, and right, the teacher how to monitor and evaluate and improve, help to improve, in teaching the student effectively. The other aspect would be how, because the audience most time, Confucius was facing a young students or man, young man figure. Those times there was no female around in these kind of settings. It's a patriarch society, male dominant society. Not seeing that in negative way is as a historical fact, right? So we need to bring that to the backdrop of understanding. So mainly talking about how to be a good brother, how to be a good son. I don't think you touch too much on how to be a good father, right? So anyway, that being said, It's followed this undergirding theme that we have been sharing. That is, let me repeat, called 格物致知修身养性平家sorry 齐家治国平天下 means 修身sorry 格物致知 let's translate that 格物 means the study the outside world emphasize that it's not necessarily a scientific study rather than a relational study. I mean, study how people relate to another, what the best way how the society, how the culture should be organized. And 致知 means learn the way of it, right? Learn how to do that. Not necessarily learn human tradition per se, but learn how to improve human relations, how you improve a government, a society, what's going on there basically. So 在修身养性呢 you position yourself means to try to be an effective member, a productive member in this community, in this society. But more than that, you need to assume almost like a leadership role. That's my saying. Confucius understanding and teaching most from the beginning have different orientations, not teaching commoners. Most are princes or the governing class. Therefore, they're preparing young lands, young people as future leaders in family, in community, and even in national life. And right, so some even prepare the future kings. If I had to tell you, that's Ming tradition there that he passed on. Now he popularized that to common people. Everybody, can learn from it if he allowed it. So there's a huge breaking down of the class barrier in those days, which is a very, very interesting revolution in those days. And he achieved it without much evil, so it was able to travel or navigate between different classes, even different nations, and was well respected. Very interesting character, worth to study. So, but when he facing such an audience, you can see he has a idea how to train that as well. That is from 19. We see these audiences, the young people. They're more than just little children. Okay, most actually has already able and well-established figures in their own right in different kingdoms, different community, and some even different official capacities. Okay, so also his interaction is between, most of the time he's even talking to different kings, and right, he himself being a primer of the nation called the Kingdom Lu, Little Kingdom, where he grew up is. He later on became prime minister. He went other places equally, became prime minister because he has such high reputation. Wherever he went, the disciple will follow him and travel with him as well. So interesting phenomenon. So much like Jesus happened to Jesus. So I don't think that much until I begin to talk this book, So that's not my intention to compare the two, but there's a lot of similarity. But from 19, this book, in a sense, there's a distinct section. The topic begins to shift from talking about the student or teaching life to family life to national life. That is how to govern a nation. Started with, as the last time we talking about, the king or the prince from the nation he grew up with called Lu, was asking him how to govern his nation, right? So he basically said, Confucius said, you need to establish the righteous people in the governing positions. So using righteous to govern, that is crooked or unrighteous ways, then the people will obey and will have a better order, better result with your government. And or governance rather. So, but if you use the wrong people, corrupt people, wicked people, try to govern the people who are righteous, suppress them, abuse them, then the people equally will not listen to you because you lost your credibility, and right, you lost your good reputation in a sense. So, anyway, I think from today on, we move on with the next section, next conversation to 220. Let me follow this procedure again. I gonna read the original text. Noah gonna read his translation. Then I'm gonna do my own translation and then continue do some commenting on that. Okay, so allow me 220. 季康子问：师美敬宗以劝，孺子何？子曰：临之以庄子敬，孝慈子宗，举善而教不能，则劝。Noah, can you read the translation for us? Mm-hmm.
Sure. Shi Kang asked how to cause the people to reverence their ruler, to be faithful to him, and to go on to nerve themselves to virtue. The master said, "Let him preside over them with gravity, then they will reverence him. Let him be filial and kind to all, then they will be faithful to him. Let him advance the good and teach the incompetent, then they will eagerly seek to be virtuous."
Wonderful. But let me do my own translation if I can. So, yeah. So, 季康子 is some those days like biblical times, the position and honor, entitlement, basically a title of a noble will pass on to the next generation from father to son. This continues, and normally, if nothing surprise happened. So the father of this one who asked the question is actually a very eminent prime minister, the whole nation, the whole kingdom, where later on Confucius became prime minister, right? So, and so he is also now become a prime minister, and so it's also a head of it's a family. You know, those times like aristocracy, there's big families. Their leaders normally is also leaders of nations. So like in the medieval age, right, especially in England, you can read a little bit, you heard that. So that is more a fitting parallel to draw the background to explain this figure. So you can see this young man is facing great responsibility. Father died at the time, so and so he right now thrust into a new position as a prime minister, has to help the king. Those days, the king actually is not dominating. Actually, this prime minister will run the nation. You know, so it's a little bit unorderly setup. That's the history we came from. But you see this young man thrust into this wonderful position, facing great responsibility, and he need counsel. So he turned to Confucius, a well-respected elder of the nation, to ask how to do that. Just like Solomon, when David passed away, he was a young man still, thrust into the position, has to be a king or shepherd over the whole nation. No, he didn't turn to the one around him like his son did, but he turned to the Lord and right asked for wisdom. So in a sense, there is a, unless we normal young people, don't have great responsibility, don't have the chance to do that, and right, especially in modern day, Everything is about entertainment, about the self-achievement, rather than come with a greater responsibility to just have to do certain things, like the situation here demanded upon Solomon or this 季康之. I use it to imprint in you learning the real history, so you don't have to be in those positions to learn the real lesson of life. So you can see they have to have counsel, they can't like their life is dedicated to or devoted to another cause. They can't just free roam. Now they have a huge responsibility. And naturally, whether there's a tradition going in those times as well, in their circles, in those traditions, in their societies, is that it depends on counselor, on elder, on the wise man, as recorded in many story, different nations in the Bible. And right, Egypt did it, Babylon did it, Persia did it, David and others did it as well. So we see there is a body of counselors that trustworthy advice from the ruler to counsel with. So here Confucius filled the bill for this young man, and he asked interesting questions. So now you understand why he's not just asking a theoretical question, right? So he ask a word practical, word urgent, word pressing question. So he said he was a young man, don't have a lot respect. Maybe there are a lot of divisions, there are a lot of strikes, and he lacked also a lot of experience. His name is not out there. His credibility is at stake. So, but he want to lead. He has to have his order, his decree to be obeyed. He has to have the honor and has the, to be authority, and others listen to him in a sense, not oppressive, just a way how things getting done. So he asked a very interesting question. Said, "How can I have the people respect me? How can I help them be faithful or diligent to fulfill the thing I advise them to do, or I actually, command them to do in a sense?" So Confucius said, you need to, as a governor, as a ruler, as a head, or one who in a position of authority responsibility, you need to discipline yourself to act in a very, very not stern or rigid way, but a respectful way. Then if you do that, they will show respect to you. They will show honor to you. And that will help people respect you, basically. So then he asked the second, how can people know how to be faithful and to be diligent to carry out his command or his intent? He said, how they can be faithful, loyal to him, basically. He said, if you respect the elders, respect, the people, especially like parents or elder society, and if you treat people with a kindness, especially young ones, this is in a sense is position not merely as a leader of a government, rather as a virtuous man, uses the government position or those things entrusted to him to build a culture that is involved all generations of people. In a sense, in Chinese culture, in the old ways, not like a modern or Western society, family and nation often is separated. Now we see this is not the case in especially today's world. Religion and states have to be separated. Everything's fractured. As if you mingle together, that is unreasonable, going to be corrupted. Well, that is not necessarily the design in many societies, especially long-lasting societies. Okay, so like China, like many other nations. I mean, especially in the Bible, we see family and the king's family, especially, and we whole young people being raised up, which the whole education here is about, is intricately related to how the nation or life will be because they were in the position of rulership, right? In the position of governance. So now back to the guideline, we're talking about the 格物致知 studies out our world, know how it works, what are your role in it. Then 修心养性, clarify your vision for life and nurture a godly character in yourself. Then 齐国,齐家 means bring goodness, fairness, righteousness, love, and peace in a sense in your own family. Now the family is not a little couple, young couple as a family unit and don't relate to one another anymore. The family in those cultures like biblical is again is a generation, a whole community living together. Right? It can be a big town, can be a but it's a big family. All the kingsmen work together. They have a community together. So, how you do that? So then if you're able to do that, naturally it's equipped you to able to govern a nation. So he said next level is 齐家治国 means bring order. Again, bring prosperity, bring peace, right, to the whole nation. Then you can do that to the whole world. That is means okay. So bring peace to the whole world. It's interesting enough, that is the government of Christ Jesus is about, right? Starting with let us learn how the kingdom of God, the invisible kingdom of God, how it works. Then we dedicated to be a son, to care about the Father's business as an heir of his care and not worries, but his plan, his intent, his good pleasure in a sense. And then, how you practice it, you start with train yourself, determine this is the vision in your life, you dedicate yourself. Like Paul said, I'm not always, he's always faithful to the heavenly call, so then what next? You train yourself. Paul said, discipline yourself, right? Producing yourself a wise heart, a character like Christ Jesus by partaking the word of God or the wisdom from above, thereby change and his divine nature of God, right? In holiness, in righteousness, in wisdom, love. So that's a personal, improvement and excellency. Now through personal perfection, then now being positioned like a light has to shine, the water has to feed the land in a sense, so you begin to be used by God for greater purposes. So that is going to be in family setting. So from there, you build up a good foundation, good experience, then elevate to govern a nation, govern the whole world, so eventually God give us the whole universe and the age to come. I mean, heaven and earth belong to us. In a sense, Confucian's guidelines is still small and right, too limited. For he was talking about the visible world, human society, and the time that a man can, do some good in it. But with Christ and his discipleship, we are talking about the invisible kingdom, amen, and the internal kingdom, internal future, right? So God's business from above. So let me reply, I think. Yes. Sorry. Okay, where are we? We're talking about the guideline, right? So here we back to the teaching. So again, so here's the aspects: the ruler, the king, the ruler of this nation being asked Confucius how to govern this nation. So he has some teaching, guiding principle. You can see they are very practical, very practical, and it's always relating to character, relate to ways of honor, relating to ways of order, also reveal to ways how to deal fundamentally relation in diverse settings. Okay, so and there's a way to it. That's why I said it's great to do with the kingly wisdom that we need to learn and need to excel in. So let's look at that. He said if you treat the elder with respect and honor, and you treat young one with kindness and affection and the support, dedication, support, am I right? Then surely all these community people, the people who yield to your leadership, will be loyal to you. And then will dedicate to you because you're doing good. You're not self-serving. You're not foolish. So in terms of carry yourself in a place of leadership, here's again Confucius gives young man this very direct guideline. He said, discipline yourself. Do not be foolish. Do not be just good with your senses, basically. Do whatever you think is good. Use your position corruptly to satisfy your own desires, like Nero did, foolish ruler, foolish young people did in their life. Then he said, then you need to emanate a way to have a love over the people, to serve the people for the best. Then surely they will respect you and honor you. Then he said, another one is how you eventually people will listen to you, how lead to leadership, how everything going to go smoothly for your kind, governance. He said, if you exhort the good people, exhort the righteous ways in the midst of people, am I right? So, and you enable them or educate them what they're incapable of doing, improve themselves, excel, and so then they will certainly obey you. They were certainly able to do it. It's thinking about it, or accomplish the thing you want to do. So think about that. It's interesting. So the first you wanted to this invasion, you want to come to a community of people. You're going to construct something, right? So to start a school, let's see. Okay, so what do? You need the right teacher, right? So the second, you need to enable the right teachers to have the knowledge they need. So some need to teach English, need to learn English. Some teach computer, but most important, this teacher should have a good heart. They should have a passion for be a helper, be an educator. They should dedicate to this, and right. So, and you want the right people in leadership, right teacher to teach, and that's exactly is like a government nation, right? You want the right people who cares the affairs of others, cares the affairs of the community of people, and then enable them to do what they need to know and what they need to do in their job, right? In their position. Amen. Hallelujah. Is that amazing? So I know I made some exposition on this one in length. Just want to bring some context in it. But all of us know this. You in your mind know this word well. Am I? In theory, in writings, in readings, when we watch a movie, we read a novel, we catch some glimpse of history, we said, oh, that's exactly why those people made mistakes. And if I do it, I might engage a different way. No, I hope I don't cast the wrong light as negative about things, okay? So I'm just saying, it's easy to say, hard to do, and right? So, as this young man, he was thrust into this position. He had to do it. he was humble enough to Confucius ask for a relevant question, and Confucius answered, not exact what to do, but I give you the way. Interesting. That's how the God wants to teach the people as well. He don't necessarily give you practical answers, ABCs, a list of do or don'ts, but it will tell you with what kind of heart, with what kind of vision, according to what kind of wisdom and ways, and you are to achieve those things. He first wants us to know the desire, the expectation, the intent when you engage a thing is good, is godly, amen. It's wonderful, and well, that's essence of love and the faithfulness, even in the Lord, right? So I'm just continue being amazed by the conversation that this Confucius, this wonderful teacher, was able to relate to others. Am I right, Noah? Yeah, it's amazing, huh? Yeah.
Amen.
221. I'm going to read again. You do the translation. 或谓孔子曰：“子奚不为政啊？”子曰：“述云：孝乎为孝，有于兄礼。始于有政，是以为政。奚其为政？” Go ahead.
Someone addressed Confucius, saying, Sir, why are you not engaged in the government? The master said, What does the Shu Xing say of filial piety? If you are filial, you discharge your brotherly duties. These qualities are displayed in government. This, then, also constitutes the exercise of government. Why must there be that, making one be in the government?
So the whole essence, I hope the others can hear clearly translation. Basically, he just tried to apply the spirit of governing relationship in a family setting, right? Talking about brotherly love, how to have peace, basically, in different families, So the picture actually here is interesting enough, 齐家, 齐 means have a fairness and equity, okay, between different members of family. Now, if you think this is a one-member family, it's very hard to say it until you have a better context of the kind of family in the back end of those teachers. Okay, the first one, Confucius, as the same thing as with Moses and Jesus. When they talk the family, they're not talking about the American little family so out there, on their own job, not relate to other, pursuing their own careers, their own happinesses. They were talking about a community, localized community. That generation live together inside one another. Everybody know one another, right? There's elders, and this traditional eldership passed on generation after generation, almost thousands of years. Amen. Many generations. A picture of like Abraham, like Melchizedek. What is the word? What is the grandpa of Noah? So the biblical Noah, okay, Noah. A big family, right? So Jacob have 12 sons. Later on become 12 tribes. That's the family we're talking about. It's culture. Now in vision, they're going to deal with different neighbors, right? The neighbor is not just neighbor as we think a neighbor is. The neighbor is their next brothers, basically. They have their own children, they need their own estate, they have their own wives, they have their own whole things going on as the integral unit of this whole family. Now, as a head of this house, or this community families, you got to administer peace and fairness. For example, this land as inheritance, how to divide that? If there is a finances, how to share Some are doing good, some have a good year, some bad year. How we do it? Interesting enough, Moses' law have all those mechanisms embodied in it as well. The spirit of the law is how to practice brotherly love. Now, brotherly love is not merely affectionate thing. I see you, I love you, brother. Greet one another, cry over your tragedies, come to attend to your funerals, or when you deal with them. Those are important, but it's come from bigger context. Your brother is really the one who lived the whole life with you. Every day your interests are entwined together. You have to do. How you do that? So not just have affectionate time, but our finances and the relationship, our future of our young people, coming generation. My children have nothing to do with your children. Those kind of things. My wife don't have to know each other. No, they eat each year. Every time they work together, live together, they share things together. I don't propose that we do that, am I right? So I'm just saying that to understand this is a context when Confucius and Jesus talk about brotherly love, talk about the neighbor, love your neighbor as unto yourself. They have totally different expectations or different contextualized understandings what they're talking about. Now, modern day man has translated that in their own settings. Neighbor is the one living down the street. That can be true, very much true. We need to treat everybody as our fellow man and our brother, but there's a big context law, cultural context laws. Okay, so that's what I try to say. Now, if the context, as I explained to you, stands, then you can envision a young person, through a young generation, coming up generation, they're going to assume leadership. And gradually, they have to know how to govern these body families, how to manage the things that has been passed on to them, how to deal with different family relationships. There's a lot involved, so a lot involved. It's like little city, in today's city. So now in those days, the government don't extend their presence in that level. So they leave the people to govern, or the family elder govern themselves. So Confucius was confronted by this one, asked him, now why not you participate? The government found, whatever you're talking about, your teaching is all about managing a nation. And you don't do it. There's no practice in your life. You're not there, So I think it either come with a genuine curiosity in the discrepancy of his teaching and his work, or maybe as a challenge, a criticism to him, So in a sense, hey, you just talk the talk, but you're never able to do it, So why you think what qualified to teach those things? You're no governor, you're no ruler. How you can teach others how to govern or to rule? Is that sometimes interesting, critical mind and biased or enlightened thinking would think others, like Jesus, don't know how to manage a kingdom, because never been a king in this world. Like Peter or Paul, never know how to do government. That's quite the opposite, am I? So if they have internal government for them, internal kingdom for them to govern, they must learn how to do that. How they learn to do that? Interesting enough, as we know in their experiences, through actually the community of believers, the family God on earth, that give them to shepherd and to lead. Now that's very relevant to us then. Confucius here, the refute to that idea, or the answer to that kind of curious question is that, you know what? You seem to have no contest how the nation should be governed. In the end of the day, the principle, the spirit, the essence of the governed nation is nothing but managing relationships. and those things are closely, you know, and being practiced, and one able to learn those things and teach those things in the setting of families, which he was trying to do. Am I making sense to you? So I hope I bring more context to you guys. Go beyond the teaching, the translation here. Let's move on 22:22. So 2.22. 子曰：人而无信，不知其可也。大车无逆，小妾无辜。I'm sorry, 无越，sorry，其何以行之哉？Can you do the translation now, Noah? So.
Yeah. The master said, I do not know how a man without truthfulness is to get on. How can a large carriage be made to go without the crossbar for yoking the oxen to, or a small carriage without the arrangement for yoking the horses?
So, like James, the brother Jesus, the apostle of early church, shared when he talked on the tongue of a man is uncontrollable, and I can set everything on fire. A wise tongue, right? So foolish talk, basically, and which come from a wrong heart, right? And stir up wrong intentions, wrong results of relational dynamics. So he said, discipline that, So, and then he said, not control that. So he used a parable there. He said, like a sheep need a rudder, right? So here, Confucius use different kind of carriages those time. I sent a picture to you guys. So Noah, can you show that to Elijah? Let him look at it. So for fun fact. So can you see the first one? Yeah.
Yes, we're looking at them right now.
Yeah, but it was bonded with a cow, something like that, oxen. But that can be true, So, but sometimes they use carriages, right? So making sense to you. So use horses, so become a different kind of carriages. Now cow can walk slowly, so not really in danger. But when you have horses, what have you? They need a severe discipline, right? So making sense to you. So the horse can be very agile, So while a horse running the cart, that can destroy your body. Making sense to you, very dangerous. So interesting. You have to discipline the horse. Now, how you do that? So you discipline the horse, but also the cart itself is need to go somewhere. They have to, the horse moving. This normally they mindless just walk. So what govern them? What govern them? There are some rules, right? There's something over them and enabled. While they're walking, they're almost like they're not really carry the carriage. It's just, lead the carriage. But in vision, the thing that tie the cow or the horse to the carriage is not well suited and not well established. Can the horse, you have a best horse, best cow to carry the carriages. You have the best designed carriages, the best carriage in the world. But if that one part is misarranged or ill prepared, you can go nowhere, right? It doesn't work. Making sense to you? So now you need to understand this is more than a normal common sense principle. It's evidently in the process of their experiences. There are many carriages that have done this for generations. And what do you think the worst, the most, uh, the major reason why a carriage is breaking down, why the wrong accident, and why people get hurt or things doesn't work, right? So, what do you think it will be? Exactly this place, so it's It's not so like today we have a car, want to increase the speed, we know where to go. You can't change the tire merely. You have to eventually have to think about it. Oh, it's the real problem is the engine, and right, the diagnosis, that's the problem, the engine. So here, simple enough. The problem with the horses or cows or chariot nothing running good or have accident is this little place. Yet common people or mindless people, they often don't pay attention to it. They allow it to deteriorate, allow it misarranged, or allow it easily broken. They don't fix it. Human tendency, oh, that's something, and other day I can do it. Oh, that's not that important. I got the beautiful carriage, I got the best wheel in the world, got the best structures. And that part, they don't do the good job with it. They may use cheap materials for it, what have you. And, that's not right. And right, actually, the whole cart, and that's one of the most important part. So that the horses or the oxen can be governed. Amen? Can be governed. Now, Confucians use this to illustrate like James using a sheep with the importance rather to mirror how we have a life of order and a life of direction, life of effectiveness in relationships. So he said, for James was your speech, reflecting your heart. For Confucius, he mentioned is keep your word, credibility. So I don't know your translation. When it said 人而无信，不知其可也 in the beginning, the sentence, the reply. Can you repeat that?
In the beginning of 22, it says, the master said, I do not know how a man without truthfulness is to get on.
Well, that's wonderful translation, but it requires a lot of English context, and right, to know what is this translation talking about. Now, direct translation would be, if a man cannot keep his word, he's very flippant, and right, in his ways, his words. He then said, I don't know he fit for anything. It's like a horse without that part, a chariot without some part. You can't go nowhere. You got the best horse, got the best chariot, but you're missing that part. Don't get on road. There's no usage for anything. It's making sense to you? It doesn't fit for anything. So, in a sense, again, this is talking about more than this everyday life, especially when you have responsibilities. Like Nero, this is by the story of Nero, the Emperor Nero in Roman world, which visited when we're talking about the book Romans, Hebrews. This foolish young man was given the best counselor in the whole culture of the Roman world. Cicero was not just any man. Cicero was the senator, so who is a tutor. He was a cream and the pillar of the product of the culture. Who was every way educated and resourceful and a wonderful Greek, Grecian culture and Roman culture would desire to be a wonderful orator, a wonderful politician, a very virtuous man, a very passionate man, a very dedicated man. Don't want to know yet, and he was given the position to be a tutor, a counselor for many years for Nero. And Nero, I think, eventually either killed him or something like that. So a foolish young man. So when the affairs were run by Cicero, Nero was considered as the best emperor they ever had, when he was young. But when he threw off his restraint, he began to come out of his true nature. Before that, it was a pretentious, pretending, so he's really, just beating for his time, in a sense. Eventually, something took over him. He suddenly changed the person and he killed Cicero and did many foolish things. He just, today do this, today do that. The whole nation quickly threw in chaos. And so, in a sense, if a person's just, in your own affairs, you don't have a lot going on in your life, don't have a lot of responsibility, you can do and talk and think whatever you want. That's basically American culture, today's culture encourage, you are your own God, your own king. You can see, think, do whatever you want, as if it mattered. But imagine if a man is assigned with a great responsibility, aspire to have a better position or better influences in the national life, in the societal life. There's something had to take, right? So the first thing first is that you got to be respectful. You got to keep your word. You can't say one thing to another, or today say one thing to another. I think I recently shared Jesus' teaching. He said, in order to mend this wayward, confusing way of life, what are you talking about? Whatever comes to your mouth, they actually, in your heart, from your heart. He said, how you do that? How you overcome this evil, this hypocrisy, this is, see one thing, thinking the other. And he said, let your yes be yes, let your no be no. Listen to the next statement. He said, and anything else is evil. That's where we're bad judgment, right? Where we're severe judgment. Now, I don't want to add too much pressure. Young people are just cost encouraging people for you. So we aspire to be used by God, even to lead God's people, to be in the center more than His will, but in the center His business. Am I right? As Paul and Jesus said, I long to do Thy will. I eager to do Thy will. I'm pleased to do Thy will. To a point, Jesus said, even you take the cross, so be it, Father, Thy will be done. Thy will be done. And Paul said, I just want to please Him. So I'll do everything in order to fulfill this heavenly call. Now, I don't want to prescribe a hard life to you. I'm just saying what a dedicated life the Lord is, to God is. It's actually a very disciplined life. And it started with, as Jesus said, keep your heart pure. Keep your word and action in alliance with your heart, where it's truthful. That's truthful. I like that word. But more about credibility, so you got to have credibility. I mean, we all sometimes lie, we all some make mistakes. How to mend that? How to let not that be the better part of your life, rather continue to improve and to limit that. Well, that's self-discipline, that's a true wisdom to learn through real life. So with that, I'm going to have Noah to pray for us and give some comments. We need to wrap up and move on next one. So okay, let me hear your guys' comments and then we wrap it up. So Noah, go ahead.
Well, the first one we covered, 220. I think there was a lot in this one because obviously it it serves as a very clear and comprehensive description of a righteous and good and virtuous ruler or leader.
Yes.
In many ways, it reminded me of the characteristics of Jesus Christ himself and the way that he carried himself, Lord, with here it says like with a sense of gravity. I think this could be interpreted maybe as with like an arrogant attitude, but of course that's not at all what that means. But that instead, that this gravity is displayed as one who carries authority, further than just the meaning of what importance may convey, but one with true authority and with true influence. And of course, this is what leads this individual to be respected. And then, of course, the next is to, in turn, be respectful to those he leads, to those he rules over, show kindness to them, show love to them.
Yes.
And then that will in turn produce faithfulness, the faithfulness of this people for this ruler, for this person, or for this culture. And then, of course, the third in this one is to basically practice this love and kindness through a desire to promote that which is good, and that which is righteous and virtuous, and at the same time to instruct those that may be lacking this. And this here is incompetence. But I think that could go even further to those who maybe seek, but at the same time lack this culture of righteousness and virtuousness, and to instruct those people and lead them into this way of life and this culture.
Yes.
And then therefore they will, as a result, seek to acquire this righteousness, and I think in a way follow the example of this leader in the way that he carries himself.
Yes.
So it's almost like this reproduction that occurs within this last example.
Yeah.
So I think that one was really good.
I like it what he said here.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Next.
Yeah. In the next one, I kind of had restated the meaning of this 2:21 in my own words for a better understanding. But what I basically said was that the teaching of life or cultural wisdom is most effectively applied in the spirit of the common family or in the community, instead of, or in contrast to an entire government. So I think it's like, in a way, it's offering a perspective or a contrast between trying to impute or initiate something in a larger sphere, for instance, in a governmental institution, where to instead practice and seek to impart something to basically the spirit of the family and of the common people, which is, I think, where this way of life or this culture that is being promoted here is most, like I said, effectively applied.
Yes.
And where the most fruit is produced, I think.
That's right. That's right.
So
that's good.
That's, I guess, really all I had to say about that one. But
no, that's very good.
Yeah,
that's very good. You know, I don't try to be critical, just to bring some context to see how to appreciate what we got here, or what he shared here. Modern day politicians or government is the territory of professional politicians, am I right? So, or professional career administrators, and we don't necessarily concern anymore their ideologies, their values of life, how they deal with their own people, am I right? We don't even care about their virtue, their how they do with their family, how they do their friendship, as long as they're a good talker, activist, or they can garner support. It's very unfortunate when you leave a nation to such a way of governance, eventually the nation will lose its way. So because there's no moral, there's no value. The leadership is eventually lost credibility itself. So in essence, in such weird or wicked or corrupt times, it's would not necessarily advisable to be part of the government. Do you understand my point? The wise people, the righteous people, they will refuse to serve in such a mud thing, muddy thing or crooked thing. So what they will do, they will withdraw from that. They will invest themselves in their own communities, in the things that they can do, right? So can improve a different culture, and implement different way of doing things. And that's easy enough. We see virtuous people, good heart people actually in the business world, because or in different settings of life, different undertakings of life. That's common today. Today is that's I think in history as well, So virtuous people really know how to govern a nation, actually seldom have the chance to do what the to carry out the vision, but that never nullify the ideal, am I right? The standard, the value, and the vision they carried. So I just want to share that with you. So yeah, I just appreciated the thing you observed there. So yeah, go ahead.
I guess with the third and the last one, the 222. So I think this one is very important as well because of the emphasis it puts on truthfulness, or as you interpreted, the ability to keep one's word. I think this plays a very important role in enabling a certain perspective to actually take root or take place, and then therefore produce fruit within a person or an individual.
Yes.
Because the ability to or the practice of keeping one's word and staying true to what one seeks to do or even says, as is implied by keeping one's word, is very, very important in being able to truly practice a new way of life or a new perspective. So, and this is kind of put obviously in a metaphorical sense with the horse pulling a carriage or something like that, where you have this very small but essential piece that is the crossbar that in a way holds everything together and keeps and basically maintains a sense of unity and direction and purpose, or the ability to fulfill that purpose. And when that is lost, then not only is there no movement, but it can be very detrimental as well.
Detrimental indeed. Yeah, especially in time of danger and demand, the urgency. Am I right? So, imagine when we common life. What do you think in a battle? So something that drop on you, you're dead. So what if you're riding on a mountainous region? The next to you is a cliff. So making sense to you. So
right.
But normal men don't think like that. I have another point to make. I'm sorry, because we use this for discussion, not just straight to be to be organizing whatever. So I think about the picture while so I'm thinking about this idea. It's this notion in modern young people cultures have a free spirit. Have you heard of that? So basically refuse to assume serious responsibility, be serious about anything. they said, I just want to enjoy life. I want to be free. I don't want to tell what to do. I don't want to burden a lot, envision a lot. I'm not saying that is bad. If artists, you don't need to worry about the politics of a nation stuff that too much, right? So, but still, anyone in life, they need to be responsible for their own ways, right? To build a credible life. And that's the essence of here we're talking about. Imagine a young man said he can see that the rest of his life on the deathbed still can claim, said, I'm a free spirit man. But really he's free? I think that man most possibly the whole life is full of bumps, bruises, and damages, and right, he's like a wrecking ball, So, making sense to you? He more than damages his own life and never fulfill his potential, never being helpful. He damaged many other lives. He never really know the good picture life, what it's really about. A solid, productive, and a loving life, what it is about. And many young people, many people come almost like go through a crisis, middle age crisis, some called, wake up, said, whoa, I can't continue in this mindset, so you need to settle down to do something. My point is that there's a huge drive in modern culture, in modern society, to see how was a false abandonment, false free spirit. Whereas in school setting, educational time, teachers, parents cannot tell you to discipline yourself, to be responsible for yourself, am I? To assume a life of responsibility, of credibility, am I? Of a solid character in a sense. Now, my point, that sounds oppressive in today's culture when somebody tells you to do that. Want to control you, wanted to oppress you. It's a cultural clash we have here in the back end of the young minds. But it's a wake-up call in a sense. You want to be bruised, scattered, splendid all around in your life. Is that free, really free? Or it's a fantasy of freedom, right? So all you want to establish the foundations, have a beautiful relation around you, enjoy everything, build things in a way nothing lost, nothing had to start over, right? So, and then enjoy it, thrive in it, be productive with it. I think that's true freedom. That's the real freedom of life, because you have fulfilled the potential in life. You have to utilize the grace of life and the endowment of life to thrive in life. In this light, I want you to raise up hand to pray. Rather to lay hands on your larger life to pray. So before he share his thoughts with us, and we wrap it up. So.
Amen. Lord, we do bless, Lord, the truth, Lord, of these words. Lord, I ask that it would truly make and take root within my life, Lord, within my brother Elijah's life. Lord, as we seek, Lord, and desire, Lord, search after this wisdom, Lord, and the impartation of this understanding. Lord, we pray it so many times, Lord, but I ask truly that it would produce fruit, Lord, within our own lives. Lord, unto your pleasure.
Hey, Elijah, close your eyes and see a vision for us while Noah pray for you. We really cherish you, and we know you coming to an age and a time, a season in your life, things just begin to open up, and right, and solid things begin introduced to you. Can be a little bit challenging, intimidating, but I want you to know those things introduced are necessary and helpful. However, don't have a balance over that. Don't let them rob your joy, overburdened, oversobered. There's always everything have moderation, have balance, and right. So you don't want to be unaware and not be serious about it, and not have a passion actually to pursue it. At the same time, you need to continue to enjoy your life, and right, to enjoy a game, to watch a sunset, whatever you want to do, enjoy your young life. But there's a balance. This begin more and more going to come on board your life, and those are the fundamentals of life. Okay, so, but the two don't have to be a challenge, a conflict with one another. It's can perfectly unified or harmonized if we understand how this works. You can thrive in it actually, because everything will work together. It's don't have to be uh, two coins, fundamentally different nature, or a stone or a pearl, that kind of thing. It can be one coin, two sides, if I'm making sense to you. So Noah continue to pray for him, let him have vision. So,
Amen. Lord, I do pray that Elijah would come beyond the place, Lord, of seeing these things as a restriction, Lord, but would come to see it as truly a freedom, Lord, something to take joy in, Lord, and to desire, Lord, as a desire of his heart. Lord, in this way would truly participate in these things with all his mind, heart, and soul. Lord, that he would see it not as, Lord, just another subject, Father, or another engagement, Lord, but he would see it as something vital to, Lord, the continued maturing, Lord, of his life, Lord, of his spirit and soul.
mm-hmm.
So, Lord, I pray that you would bless him in this process, Lord, and that you would, in this way, Lord, in this process, be an example to others around him. So, Lord, I pray these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
In Jesus' name. In Jesus' name. Hey, Elijah, share with us what you see.
I saw a it's a short vision. I saw a hot liquid metal, or I think it might have been gold, but it was poured. The gold was brought over, and it was poured into a mold that it was a straight line, and then the mold went down, and then it came into like a little circular thing, and it came down. The gold flowed down, which was being poured into the mold, into this ring shape, and the mold was, after it was poured, something came over the mold, and then it opened back up, and there, basically the mold is made of just like a golden ring. But yeah, that's what I saw.
Do you have a comment or understanding on this?
No, not really.
Oh yeah, let Noah comment on it then before you pray.
I think it could, in a way, relate to the time of Elijah's life, and I guess a lot of things may be being, I guess, heated to where they're moldable. In the sense that maybe, of course, the vision, I don't think, clarified this particularly, but basically bringing forth that which is pure and was seeded by the Lord himself, or which resembles maybe this gold, and it's being heated to a place where it's moldable, and it was indeed molded into a ring. I don't know if it was a wearable ring or not. It depends on what Elijah saw, but I think it has a lot to do with the time and place in his life, and the process that is taking place within his heart and his spirit.
Yes, that's beautiful, huh? Yeah. Elijah, I want you to grab the Bible. Let's look at the book Haggai, the last few verses from um, from 20 to the end of the verse, the chapter, end of the book, basically. I want you to read it for us. It reminded me of the movie scene, in the Lord of the Rings, the beginning, their prelude, right? Some gold will pour into the mouth. Yeah, so something that needs, and the similar. I'm not so sure, however. So yeah.
Yeah, very similar. Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead, Elijah.
What verse?
It's in 20.
You're reading from
Haggai 2:20. That's good.
Okay.
That's interesting. Haggai 2:22. So 2:20. I'm sorry, from 20. So 2 to 2. I'm just saying 2 to 2. So go ahead.
The word of the Lord came to Haggai a second time on the 24th day of the month. Tell Zerubbabel, governor of Judah, that I will shake the heavens and the earth. I will overturn the royal thrones and shatter the power of the foreign kingdoms. I will overthrow the chariots and their drivers. Horses and their riders will fall, each by the sword of his brother. On that day, declares the Lord Almighty, I will take you, my servant Zerubbabel, son of Shealtiel, declares the Lord, and I will make you like my signet ring, for I have chosen you, declares the Lord Almighty.
In that light, pray for us, Elijah, and ramp it up.
Lord, I do thank you for these revelations, Lord, these visions. Lord, I pray that whatever you are showing me in my life, Lord, that I myself would have understanding and others would, Lord. Lord, I thank you for this meeting this morning. Lord, I pray that what Emmanuel is teaching today, that we would, Lord, ponder on, Lord, and let it play out in our lives, Lord. I pray that in all the hardships we're facing right now, Lord, that our trust and you, Lord, would never fade, Lord, that we would know whatever is happening.
Yes.
That you would bless our people and, Lord, our businesses. So, Lord, I do pray in your name. Amen.
Amen. Well, Elijah, due to time frame, we will not have you comment on things, but in the meantime, you might want to journal down your thoughts, stuff that. Don't feel free to share with me, okay? So anytime you can share that with me, so. And next time we can have some discussions as well. You have questions, always feel free to ask, okay? So especially in time of meeting.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. As right now, arrangement